Here on the verge of another season, and obviously things never stop, do they? I mean, talk
No.
about what y'all have been doing in preparation for 2014, and just how things are coming together for you.
We've only had a few days in pad, so up until this point, it's really been a lot of the same things that you always do. You spend your off season, running and lifting and practicing in helmets in the summer, doing some 7-on-7. We went to camp a couple of weeks ago down in Macon, and I think we've got most of our install in. So now as we get pads on, you can focus more on fundamentals and trying to get your team in football shape, because it's just so different. And we transitioned from June and July from working in the mornings to working in the afternoon and just trying to get acclimated and, ready to play a 4-quarter game. So a lot of the same.
Talk about this team. I know obviously you got several guys back from last season. I mean, is there much that needs to be installed, or is this team pretty with it on what y'all generally do?
I think those guys go home in January. I don't think they look at their playbooks for 6 months, and then we start football again. So you go through your whole install, and guys might be in new positions, or certainly depth at different positions. Whether it be offense, defense, or kicking game. That's such a huge priority for every team, is not just getting your ones ready to play, but getting your twos and threes. Those guys are always one snap away from moving up and having a whole lot more put on them. So we're spending a lot of time working with guys in depth at every position.
How is this team shaping up so far? I would talk about kind of your feel as a coach, what you've got coming back. What do you think this team is capable of?
I really don't. At this point, it's just hard to tell. We're challenging them so much in practice right now from a mental and a physical standpoint and a conditioning standpoint that it's hard to say what they're capable of and what they're not. Certainly there's some veterans, but there's a whole lot of new. And I think the misnomer is, whatever role your program was last year in our program, you were a ninth grader, you were a sophomore, junior, well, you're a year older. Your role's probably going to change a little bit. The load's going to get a little bigger and maybe a little heavier, and then it goes back to expectations. And expectations are put on all of us, and which guys can handle them, and which guys can step up and carry the load that's a little bit heavier. And so that's what we're trying to find out right now, because the guy you were a year ago is not the guy we need you to be today. And that's for my coaches, that's for my players, and that's the challenge of football.
Talk a little about this. You mentioned it's a mixture. This team, kind of, who are some of the leaders that are developing right now?
We've got some solid senior leadership, but I always say this too: you don't wake up your senior year and know how to be a leader. They've had some great examples. Many of them led last year. A lot of them were great followers, and to be a great leader, I think you got to know how to follow and learn that role as an underclassman. But certainly, one of our seniors, Luke Humphrey, quarterback battling for our job, has had a great summer. Nick Polino and Hunter Holland are a couple linemen coming back that, they've been in the wars now for 2 years going into their senior year. And Joshua Thomas is another kid that we've really had to lean on, and I've been pleased with his effort and his work. But those same guys that I've listed are guys that we're challenging every single day too, because what they did or who they were a year ago is not who they can be for us to be successful a year later. They've got to be a year older and a year more mature and a year better, and they've got to do more.
Obviously, the standard that y'all set down here is so high. Talk about what it's like, as far as a kid coming in, even if he, even a kid like a Joshua Thomas who, had a great season last year and, is going to be on a lot of preseason lists and that sort of thing.
Sure.
What is it like, for him in a program like this? Because y'all don't do a lot of individual sort of stuff here, obviously. What do y'all do to ensure that everybody kind of stays on that even keel and no one gets too much, individual talk?
I think that goes back to the culture of your program and what are you really about at the core. And I think the intangibles of our program are really special, and I think kids have bought into being a part of this and to giving and understanding that if I give, I'll get so much more, and if I can keep that attitude. And Joshua, he's a running back, and we always talk about we share the ball. We're not going to have one guy that carries the ball 35 times on Friday night. We're going to share the ball, and all those guys are going to play defense. And I don't know, those guys I think come through our program knowing that, man, that I'm not going to have unbelievable stats because of that. And I think it's just kind of a program thing. I think from a program standpoint, we talk about fighting complacency all the time. I mean, human nature is to be satisfied, to camp out, to look back, to be excited about what we've done, pleased with what's gone on here in the past, and that's what we fight every day. I tell the guys all the time. Last year, yesterday ended last night. Last year's over. Last year's team can't score a point for this year's team, and we haven't accomplished anything yet as a team because we're a new team and it's a new year. And I think if myself and the coaches can live there, it's easier for the players to live there. And if we can't be an example of that, then we can expect them to stay there.
One thing that I would think, it would be an interesting motivating factor this year. You're up in 4A now.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about just kind of what you see coming. I mean, it's going to be a very difficult region. In the playoffs, I mean, I would imagine it'd be that much tougher once you get
Sure.
there.
Yeah.
Talk about kind of your expectations for this season.
Well, everything's tougher. I mean, we, two of our three openers in the preseason are the non-region contest are Trinity Christian out of Jacksonville and then McEachern. Those two folks are nationally ranked programs, and state. Trinity won the state championship in Florida last year, and just incredible looking talent and football team. And then obviously everybody here in Georgia is familiar with McEachern. I think they may be the top ranked 6A school. And so that's a little, that's a lot to bite off here just to get started. And then our region's going to be tougher. And obviously, as you move up in another classification, I think the competition's better, and there's a larger pool of teams that can win a state championship. So in every way, shape, or form, I mean, we have a new mountain to climb. It's going to be tougher. We've got to be better if we want to stay at a championship level. And, certainly nobody's going to give us anything.
As far as the makeup of this team, you mentioned it is a mix. Talk about, kind of how it breaks down. How many seniors are you looking at? How many juniors? That sort of thing.
It's pretty balanced. I mean, both those classes have about 25 kids. And, the fun thing about this group is they generally love and care about each other and like being together. And, they've had a lot of fun working together and going off to camp this summer. And I like the camaraderie amongst the group. But I think they're still finding their identity as a team, and what does that look like, and what does it sound like, and who are our leaders, and so that's what football's changed a lot. You used to have a while back you used to have all of August to kind of build your team and go off to camp for a couple weeks, and now we all start school the first week of August, so you have less time to kind of find out those critical the critical factors to being successful, and the things you need to learn about people and how guys work together, and what's the identity, and it feels like you have less time to figure all that out now.
Finally, just obviously now a veteran head coach. How much excitement do you get at this time of year, or do you stay kind of even keel throughout the year? What's it like personally for you?
It's changed for me. I mean, from in that I really enjoy every part of the year to a certain, and different, and they're all different. But I think as a young coach, you fight, always looking at the end and the finish line. And I'm just, as I've gotten a little bit older, I don't want to say I'm the old coach yet. I'm probably in the middle somewhere. I've learned to really enjoy each part of the process, and I enjoy building a team in the summer, and I love the month of August and trying to put the pieces together. And then I love watching a team improve as you go through your first 6 weeks, and then going through the regular season and trying to get a team prepared for the playoffs, or and I enjoy the off season as much, and watching our kids work and improve, and kind of looking ahead to what could be and who could play what role. So, but this is a fun time of year. School's starting. That's fun. People are excited. Things feel new again. But for a football team, certainly. As you start August, it's the dog days. I mean, this is the hard work, and this is the hard part, and this is when you find out about people.
All right, Coach. Well, listen, I appreciate your time. Good luck on 2014.
All right, thank you.